Why trying harder fails for 90% of people. You wake up at 5 a.m., you work through lunch, you hustle after your kids go to bed, you listen to the podcasts, read the books, follow the influencers who scream, work harder, and you do. You give it everything you've got. And yet, somehow you're still broke. You're still exhausted. You're still stuck in the same place you were a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. So you tell yourself, I just need to try harder. More hours, more hustle, more caffeine, more discipline. And the cycle continues. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Trying harder is a trap. For 90% of people, effort without strategy is just expensive suffering. And until you understand why your brain and your bank account don't respond to raw effort alone, you're going to keep burning out while going nowhere. My name is Zoe, and here at Exponential Mind, we don't just count pennies, we rewire how you think about wealth. If you're someone who's been grinding for years, doing everything the hustle culture gurus told you to do, and you're exhausted with nothing to show for it, make sure to hit the subscribe button, because today we're exposing why trying harder is a lie and what actually works instead. Let me start with something that's going to make some people uncomfortable. According to a study from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American works 34.4 hours per week. But here's the thing, there are people working 60-hour weeks who are barely surviving, and there are people working 20-hour weeks making six figures. The difference isn't effort, it's leverage. And this is the fundamental problem with trying harder. It assumes that success is a linear equation, that if you put in twice the effort, you'll get twice the results. But that's not how wealth works. That's not how the brain works. And that's definitely not how exponential growth works. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say you're working a $20 per hour job. You decide to try harder, so you pick up overtime. You work 60 hours a week instead of 40. You're exhausted, you never see your family, your health is declining, but you're hustling. At $20 per hour for 60 hours, you're making $1,200 per week, or about $62,400 per year before taxes. That's $20,000 more than working 40 hours. Sounds good, right? But here's the problem. You're still trading time for money at a linear rate. You've hit a ceiling. There are only 168 hours in a week, and you need to sleep, eat, and exist. You can't work more than about 80 hours without literally destroying your body. Meanwhile, someone else is building a system. They create a digital product, an online course, a YouTube channel, an Amazon FBA business, a real estate investment. They put in 20 hours per week, and their income is decoupled from their time. They make money while they sleep. That's exponential versus linear, and trying harder only works in a linear world. Here's where the psychology comes in, because this is critical. There's a concept in neuroscience called the effort paradox. Research from Stanford University shows that when people believe effort alone leads to success, they actually become less strategic and less effective. Why? Because effort feels productive. It gives you a dopamine hit. You worked 12 hours today. You feel accomplished, even if you didn't move the needle at all. Your brain conflates being busy with being effective. This is why so many people are stuck in what I call productive procrastination. You're working hard, but you're working on the wrong things. You're responding to every email, attending every meeting, checking every box. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted, but not closer to wealth. Let me give you the financial example. According to data from Ramsey Solutions, 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. These aren't lazy people. These are people working full-time jobs, some working 2 or 3 jobs. They're trying harder than ever. But here's what they're missing. Systems beat effort every single time. What does that mean? It means instead of working more hours at your job, you automate your savings. Instead of hustling for overtime, you build a skill that increases your hourly rate. Instead of grinding yourself into the ground, you create passive income streams. Let me break down the 3 reasons trying harder fails for 90% of people. Reason number 1, you're optimizing the wrong variable. Most people are trying to maximize effort when they should be maximizing value. Here's the difference. Effort-based thinking says, I need to work more hours. Value-based thinking says, I need to increase what each hour is worth. Let's run the math. If you make $25 per hour and you work extra 10 hours per week, you make an extra $250 per week, or about $13,000 per year before taxes. That's the effort approach. But if you invest 10 hours per week learning a high-income skill like copywriting, web development, or sales, and you land a job that pays $50 per hour, you've just doubled your income without working more. In fact, you could work fewer hours and still make more. This is the exponential mindset. Don't ask, how can I work harder? Ask, how can I create more value per hour? According to research from McKinsey, employees who focus on skill development and strategic thinking earn 40% more over their careers than those who just focus on working longer hours. Reason number 2, your brain is working against you. Here's something they don't teach you in school. Willpower is a finite resource. It's called ego depletion, and it's been studied extensively by psychologist Baumeister. Every decision you make, every temptation you resist, every effort you exert drains your willpower tank. And when that tank is empty, you make bad decisions. You skip the gym, you order takeout, you blow your budget, you give up. This is why trying harder fails, because you're relying on willpower, and willpower runs out. Here's the reframe. Instead of trying to summon more discipline, build systems that don't require discipline. Let me give you a financial example. Let's say you're trying to save money. The try harder approach is to manually resist every spending temptation. Every time you want coffee, you say no. Every time you see something on sale, you walk away. This requires constant willpower. The systems approach, you automate. You set up automatic transfer from checking to savings the day your paycheck hits. You use apps like Capital or Digit that round up purchases and save the difference. You delete shopping apps from your phone. Same goal, but one requires infinite willpower and the other requires 0 willpower. Which one do you think actually works long term? According to a study from Vanguard, people who automate their retirement savings contribute 60% more than those who manually save. Same effort, exponentially different results. Reason number 3, you're measuring the wrong thing. Here's the brutal truth. Most people measure inputs instead of outputs. They measure how many hours they worked, how early they woke up, how busy they were. But none of that matters if the outcomes don't change. Rich people measure outcomes. Did my net worth increase? Did my passive income grow? Did I acquire an asset? Did I build equity? Let me show you the difference. Person A works 50 hours per week at their job, comes home exhausted, and repeats. At the end of the year, they made the same salary as last year, maybe a 3% cost of living raise. Person B works 40 hours per week at their job, but spends 5 hours per week building a side business. At the end of the year, their side business generates an extra $15,000. The next year, $40,000. The year after that, it replaces their full-time income. Person A worked harder. Person B built wealth. This is what I mean by measuring outputs. It's not about the hours, it's about the assets you're creating, the skills you're building, the systems you're putting in place. According to Thomas Stanley's research in The Millionaire Next Door, self-made millionaires don't work harder than average Americans, but they do work smarter. They invest in income-producing assets, they build businesses, they create multiple income streams.
So, what's the alternative to trying harder? It comes down to 3 principles: leverage, systems, and strategy. Principle 1, leverage. Leverage means getting more output from the same input. There are 4 types of leverage: time leverage, hiring people, outsourcing tasks, using tools and automation; money leverage, investing, using other people's capital, taking calculated financial risks; skill leverage, learning high-value skills that pay exponentially more, system leverage, building things that work without you, businesses, content, products. Here's a concrete example. Let's say you're spending 10 hours per week cleaning your house, doing yard work, running errands. You make $50 per hour at your job. If you hired someone at $20 per hour to do those tasks, you'd free up 10 hours. You could use those 10 hours to work overtime at $50 per hour, netting you $500 minus the $200 you paid, leaving you $300 ahead. Or better yet, you use those 10 hours to build a skill or side business that pays $100 per hour. Now you're making $1,000 minus the $200, netting $800. That's leverage. Same 10 hours, exponentially different outcomes. Principle 2, systems. A system is a repeatable process that produces consistent results without requiring constant effort or willpower. For your finances, systems look like automatic bill pay, so you never miss a payment, automatic investing, so you're building wealth without thinking about it, separate bank accounts for different purposes, so you can't accidentally spend your savings, budgeting apps like YNAB or Mint that track everything for you. For your career, systems look like templates and checklists, so you're not reinventing the wheel every time. Scheduled deep work blocks, so your most important tasks always get done. A personal CRM to track relationships and opportunities. The key insight is this: a good system is more powerful than good intentions. According to James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. If your system is try to save money when I remember, you'll fail. If your system is automatically transfer 20% of every paycheck to savings, you'll succeed. Principle 3, strategy. Strategy is knowing where to apply your effort for maximum impact. It's the 80-20 rule. 20% of your actions produce 80% of your results. Most people are working on the 80% that doesn't matter. Answering emails, sitting in pointless meetings, doom scrolling social media, doing busy work that feels productive but doesn't move the needle. Here's how to find your 20%. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I could do that would make everything else easier or not as necessary? For your finances, maybe it's negotiating a raise. One uncomfortable conversation could be worth $10,000 per year. That's more than you'd save by clipping coupons for a decade. For your career, maybe it's learning one high-value skill. 6 months learning digital marketing could land you a job paying $30,000 more per year. For your business, maybe it's focusing on the one marketing channel that actually brings in customers instead of trying to be on every platform. Strategy is about leverage points. Small actions, massive results. Let me give you the action plan. This is what to do instead of trying harder. For your wallet, first, audit your time. For 1 week, track every hour. How much time are you spending on high-value activities versus low-value busy work? Be honest. Second, identify one high-leverage financial move. This could be negotiating your salary, refinancing a loan, automating your savings, or starting a side income stream. Pick one. Third, build one financial system this month. Set up automatic investing. Create separate savings accounts for different goals. Install a budgeting app. Make your money work on autopilot. Fourth, calculate your effective hourly rate. If you make $60,000 per year, but you work 60 hours per week, your effective rate is only $19.23 per hour. Now ask, what tasks am I doing that are worth less than $19 per hour that I could delegate or eliminate? For your mind, first, reframe effort. Instead of asking, am I working hard enough, ask, am I working on the right things? Write this down and put it where you'll see it every day. Second, practice strategic laziness. This sounds counterintuitive, but hear me out. Identify the tasks that drain your energy but don't produce results. Stop doing them. Give yourself permission to not do everything. Third, build decision-making systems. Create rules for yourself so you're not using willpower on every choice. For example, I invest 15% of every paycheck automatically. I only check email twice per day. I say no to any commitment that doesn't align with my top 3 goals. Fourth, study leverage. Read The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. Read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Read Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Fill your brain with examples of people who built wealth through strategy, not just effort. And here's the beautiful thing. You can learn this too. You can shift from linear effort to exponential growth, but it requires a fundamental mindset shift. You have to stop glorifying hustle and start glorifying results. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, stop trying harder. Seriously. Instead, try smarter. Every time you're about to do something, ask yourself, is there a system, tool, or strategy that could do this better or faster? Every time you're about to work extra hours, ask yourself, what skill could I learn instead that would make my time worth more? Track the results. I guarantee you'll get further in 30 days working smart than you did in the last year working hard. If this video changed how you think about effort and success, hit that like button. If you're ready to stop hustling yourself into exhaustion and start building real wealth, subscribe to Exponential Mind and drop a comment telling me what's one thing you're going to stop trying harder at and start systematizing instead. Let's work smarter. Let's build leverage. Let's think exponentially. I'm Zoe, and I'll see you in the next one.